If you're a jihadist who wants to slaughter unbelievers in the name of Allah, don't even bother hiding your motive. Our politicians and reporters are all too happy to do it for you. Just ask Philadelphia jihadist Edward Archer, who learned the hard way that no matter how clearly you announce to the world that you're terrorizing people for the sake of Islam, our leaders will not believe you. Of course, if Archer had said, "I'm a Republican gun supporter killing in the name of the NRA," our news networks would have immediately made a connection between his actions and his ideology. If Archer had stood up and declared, "I'm a woman," politicians and the media would have shouted in a chorus of affirmation, "Of course you are, and anyone who says you're not is a bigot." But since Archer attacked a police officer while dressed in full Islamic garb and soon confessed that he's a jihadist fighting to establish Sharia, our leaders naturally respond, "Shut up, liar, there's no such thing as jihad." Imagine Archer's frustration as he tells investigators exactly why he shot Officer Jesse Hartnett.
The suspect in question is a 30-year-old male from Yaden. He has a Philadelphia address as well, I believe. Has confessed to committing this cowardly act in the name of Islam. According to him, he believed that the police defend laws that are contrary to the teachings of the Quran.
We had the suspect upstairs, the homicide unit, talk to him. Right away, he didn't have anything to say, but then he stated that he pledges his allegiance to Islamic State, he follows Allah, and that is the reason he was called upon to do this.
This crystal clear confession is then immediately thrown out by world-renowned Quran scholar / mayor of Philadelphia for the past 4 days, Sheikh Jim Kenney.
In no way, shape, or form does anyone in this room believe that Islam or the teaching of Islam has anything to do with what you've seen on that screen. That is abhorrent, it's terrible, and it does not represent the religion in any way, shape, or form or any of its teachings.
Now, there are two basic ways you might deny the connection between Islam and jihad. First, you might pretend that the Quran doesn't say things like, "Fight those who do not believe in Allah," Surah 9, verse 29. "O Prophet, strive hard against the unbelievers and the hypocrites and be unyielding to them," Surah 9, verse 73. "Surely Allah has bought of the believers their persons and their property for this, that they shall have the garden. They fight in Allah's way, so they slay and are slain," Surah 9, verse 111. "O you who believe, fight those of the unbelievers who are near to you and let them find in you hardness," Surah 9, verse 123. "Muhammad is the messenger of Allah, and those who are with him are severe against disbelievers and merciful among themselves," Surah 48, verse 29, and so on. Unfortunately, the claim that the Quran doesn't say these things can be refuted using the skills a 5-year-old learns on Sesame Street. If you can read, you can know what Islam teaches. The second way you might deny the connection between Islam and jihad is by pretending that there's no relationship between what a religion commands and what the adherents of that religion do. Now, there's not a necessary connection between what a religion commands and what an adherent of that religion does. You can believe in a religion without doing what it says, and you can do what a religion says without believing in the religion. But does this mean that there's no connection at all? When a Muslim prays 5 times per day, does this have something to do with Islam? Other people can pray 5 times a day. I might pray 5 times tomorrow, and it will have nothing to do with Islam. But when a Muslim prays 5 times a day, does it have something to do with Islam? Of course it does, because Muhammad commanded his followers to pray 5 times a day. When a Muslim fasts during the month of Ramadan, does this have something to do with Islam? Non-Muslims might coincidentally fast during that month, and it will have nothing to do with Islam. But when a Muslim fasts during the month of Ramadan, is there a connection to his religion? Of course there is, because Muhammad commanded his followers to fast during the month of Ramadan. When a Muslim takes the pilgrimage to Mecca, does it have something to do with Islam? Yes, because Muhammad commanded his followers to take the pilgrimage to Mecca. When a Muslim goes to the mosque on Friday, or recites the Shahada, or pays zakat, does this have something to do with Islam? Absolutely. Now, when a Muslim opens the Quran and reads, "Fight those who do not believe in Allah," and he decides to obey this command, and he opens fire on a police officer, does this have something to do with Islam? Does this mean that all Muslims are violent? No. Does it mean that we need to round up Muslims and put them in camps? Not at all. But is there a connection between Islam commanding its adherents to wage jihad and the jihad that some of these adherents wage? No question. So when politicians like Mayor Kenny, after every Islamic terrorist attack, rush to defend the ideology that inspired the attack, when they say ridiculous things like,
this is a criminal with a stolen gun who tried to kill one of our officers, has nothing to do with being a Muslim or following the Islamic faith.
we can only respond,
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.